I have a bone to pick with Robert Saleh. He said something that I don't really like at all. Hey, what's going on? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Before we get started today, I just wanted to mention you can follow on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. And if you haven't already, please make sure to check out the Just Jets podcast. New episodes drop every every Wednesday now, not Monday. So you can still call in, leave your reaction to week 1, and we can get into week 2 as well. So as you might tell by the intro and the title of this video, I thought Robert Saleh, after the Jets loss yesterday, said something a little bit ridiculous. So allow me to explain if I could. So he came out and said that this wasn't a moral victory. Agree with that. It wasn't. It's far from a moral victory, in fact. But then, he seemed to backtrack that pretty damn quickly when almost the next words out of his mouth are how he's proud how his team fought. With that effort, that is the effort that you saw and said, okay, yeah, I'm proud of how this team fought. You know what? If they came out and they lost to Baltimore 30-27, and it was a back and forth game, and it took a last second long field goal for Baltimore to win, then yeah, okay, maybe that's a different conversation. Maybe it's, we're not in this for moral victories. Proud of how the guys fought. They look different out there. But that wasn't the case. You lost 24-9 in your home building. I understand the Ravens are a good team. They are better than the Jets. They are more talented than them at a ton of positions. They are probably going to be the team that wins the AFC North and probably makes the playoffs. I get that, but they were far from at their best. Lamar Jackson in the first half didn't do a whole lot. I mean, it was 10-3 at the half, but the offense was just so putrid yesterday that they really couldn't stay in this game. And then it was over early in the third quarter, because defense finally got tired, let up a couple of big plays, and that was it. But how could you possibly look at this team and what they've done over the last few years in September? And I know he wasn't there for all of it, right? But his team hasn't won a game yet in September. And this roster should be better than what they are putting out there. It's ridiculous. How could the takeaway from yesterday be proud of how this team fought? That should not have been uttered from anyone's mouth yesterday. And he's not the only one. You had players talking about, little wins on the field, like averaging 6 yards a carry in the first half, or that the defense contained Lamar Jackson for a half. I don't want that. The bar was so low for this team. So low. Literally the bar that I set and most other Jet fans set was just don't suck. Be semi-competitive. And if they went out yesterday, and like I said, if they lost 30-27, or, it came down to the wire, they actually did a little bit of something offensively, and say, okay, Baltimore's the better team, but hey, they showed some heart and they fought. There was no heart in that game. Come on. They were going through the motions. It felt like every other September game that we've seen from this team pretty much since 2018. They've been abysmal. Douglas's record since taking over in 2019, they haven't won a game in September yet in that time. And I get it. The circumstances are different, right? 2019 wasn't really his team. But if you want to count 2020, 21, and 22, that's 3 years. And all you're looking for is tangible progress. And sure, there are some things on this roster that are better, but the takeaway from getting blown out once again in your home opener, home building on 9/11, an emotional day for this city, and the team comes out and performs to that level, that's embarrassing. That is embarrassing. And the team, or the takeaway, should be we were embarrassed by our effort today. Not, oh, we did this little thing well. I don't know what minute detail of the game that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. You didn't win. And I'm not saying that I'm expecting this team to come out and have a 10-win season and beat all these good teams. But it's really not asking a lot to keep it competitive. The game was over before the fourth quarter started because they didn't do anything. They had 3 points essentially the entire game until the final minute. And there was special teams mistakes. There were drops and penalties and fumble. Can the team look ready? That's it. Look like a competitive football team, or at least put on that facade that you are a team that's ready to compete. Because last the last game we saw, week 1, and what we just saw, that looked like a team that wasn't ready. And I know that they didn't have their starting quarterback, and I know that they had an injury to Dwayne Brown. I get that, but at the same time, the Ravens had their third string left tackle have to come in the game. They were without one of their best corners. They were without their starting running back, and they still put up 24 points in the game and still won without breaking a sweat. That's the embarrassment. That is the embarrassing thing. Again, am I saying the Jets got to come out here and it's a joke that they didn't beat a team that is definitely better than them? No, that's completely unfair. Where I take issue with is that after you get your doors blown off in the first game of the year, a game where you really weren't competitive in, after like midway through the third quarter, game was over, that we're talking about proud of how the team fought? What? You got to be better than that. And look, I like Robert Saleh, and there are some things that I do really like about his energy and his persona, but he really leaves you scratching your head sometimes, whether it be the phrasing of how the teams they've dealt with injuries the last 2 years, whether it's Becton last year, Becton this year, Zach Wilson this year. There's multiple examples of this where they've just been completely wrong and gotten it way, way off. You're better off not saying anything. And then to even I know we prefaced it by saying that it wasn't a moral victory, but then you can't go on and talk about how you're proud that they fought. BS. That's not an effort to be proud of. Yesterday was not an effort to be proud of. The fans have been waiting for a really, really long time. You had a fun and exciting offseason. I get that. I don't want to be the team that has a fun offseason. You get your hopes up and then you win 4 games every year. Enough. Sorry. Again, it was your home opener, first game of the year, on a very important and somber day in this city. That's the effort that we get. The fans were there early. They were loud. It rained all day. And that is the effort that you see. And I don't blame fans for not wanting to go or leaving early. With that effort, I can't sit here and say that I blame the fans for any of how that, like if in week 3, assume the Jets go to Cleveland and they lose. Maybe they pull off a win, whatever. Point being, in week 3, with Zach Wilson still not likely to be back and a chance that you're 0-2, it's going to be at least half Cincinnati Bengals fans, and you'll have the few on Twitter who are upset. Oh my God, it's embarrassing that you let the other team come in. The team hasn't given you a reason to spend your money. If I'm a season ticket holder, why do I want to go to that? If I live out east on Long Island, why do I want to drive the trek to George Washington Bridge? Might be the worst thing ever invented. I hate going over that thing any single time, but the stadium's a pain in the ass to get to. It's not a great fan experience from just a stadium perspective. And then they give you an awful, 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 awful performance more often than not. You want to pay your hard-earned money for that? I don't. And I know maybe that's hypocritical of me for going. I go 1 regular season game a year at most. It's fun hanging out with the fans in the parking lot. I love meeting up with the guys, Ryan, Green Bean, Richie, Jets Chaos, Buffalo Jet fan, all of them. Love it. That part is so fun. But again, I'm going to get on the fans for not filling up their building when this is the effort that you put out. And then after the game, the coach is saying you're proud of how this team fought. It's ridiculous. Sorry that I had to get this rant out there, but I just did. This is how I feel on it. I feel like a lot of fans feel this way, so I wanted to get my take out on it, and I want your opinion too. What did you think of Robert Saleh's post-game press conference yesterday? Clearly, it rubbed me the wrong way, so sound off in the comments below. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Once again, I am Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time.
Wow.